All right, another easy win. The Utah Jazz are holding strong to the number 1 seed. This is the Hoops Nerd postgame show. Guys, this game was never a question at any point. From the point in the first half where the Jazz just looked like they were going through the motions and Joe Ingles was making every shot, to like midway through through third quarter when the Jazz were up by 30 and I literally fell asleep on the couch. This was never in question. The Jazz just dominated the Houston Rockets the entire time. First, let's talk about the Rockets because that's what we do. There's not a lot to say about the Rockets. There's Christian Wood and John Wall and a lot of sadness. And that's the Houston Rockets this season. They had the stuff with Harden going on at the beginning of the year. Now they're playing with John Wall and Christian Wood and a bunch of change, and that's the Houston Rockets. I don't know what else to say. I didn't know Avery Bradley was on the Rockets. Good for him. There's just not a lot left with his team. And by the way, I'm not even 100% sure if the Rockets have their draft pick this year. Let me know, Rockets fans, in the comments. I hope you do. I hope you do, Rockets fans, because if you don't, the sadness is permeating. Let's just say that. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But anyways, for the Utah Jazz, this is exactly what you want to happen. You want to win the game. The Jazz just honestly, at no point did they look nervous about this game at all. They slowly just built a lead and just never looked back. They have players playing better than they've played in the past. They have just a lot of nice things going on, and all this happening while Donovan Mitchell is injured. So there's not a lot else. There's just not a lot of things to be sad about or just worried about with this game. And the Jazz will go into Minnesota kind of playing off of this game and having not had to put much effort out there. Bojan Bogdanovic continues to hit threes, and that makes me really happy. Because if Bojan Bogdanovic can just keep knocking down those threes and start just being more and more consistent, the better. Tonight, 3 for 8. Really, probably the big story of the game was Mike Conley with 13 assists a game. That guy is just setting everyone up. And with Donovan Mitchell out, it's just nice to see Mike Conley doing nice things. He was only 1 for 6 from 3 and 4 for 12 and had a plus 46. So that tells you one of two things. Mike Conley is just really good and just makes everyone around him better. And two, Rudy Gobert is the defensive player of the year and an absolute monster. Tonight, Rudy Gobert, 18 rebounds, 19 points. He was a plus 44, 9 for 12 from the field, and 2 blocks. Absolutely just devastating. And, it's against a bad Rockets team that just doesn't really have a lot going for it at all. And so obviously you like to see Rudy Gobert just dominate like he did. But man, sometimes he just, the wake of his destruction is much like Godzilla. It's Godzilla walking through and just destroying the city of Houston, leaving terror and sadness in his wake. Sadly, not a lot of Houston fans watched the basketball games there, even in the best of times pre-pandemic. But those that were watching watched Godzilla destroy tonight. And the destruction was complete and terrible. The other guy we got to talk about is Jordan Clarkson. And what I'm really excited about with Clarkson, this is exciting. And we're seeing this the last few games. I don't have the time to go through like Basketball Reference and do an inquiry on his numbers. But tonight, Jordan Clarkson, though he didn't shoot it great from the field, and I think there's a little bit here where Jordan Clarkson needs to take a step back. And this may be a little bit, too, of Donovan Mitchell being out, and that's why Jordan Clarkson's taking shots. But he was 4 for 9 from 3. And that's the efficiency that you get excited about, because that's what he was doing the first half of the year that made him kind of the lock for Sixth Man of the Year, the likely lock, who he's playing against his own teammate for Sixth Man of the Year. But it's just that 3-point efficiency. Tonight he was 4 for 9. And I really just like seeing Jordan Clarkson hitting spot-up threes. When he's doing that, it just opens things up for him. But if you have him hitting threes with efficiency, that's big. And that's what helps build those leads and helps you go on those runs like the Jazz did tonight. It was fantastic. So it's nice to see Jordan Clarkson thriving again. Honestly, that 3 or 4 game rest that he did was great. And so for him to shoot 4 for 9 from 3, 44%, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and be a +9 is just nice to see. Would you like to see the field goal percentage go up? Because at one point during the season, Jordan Clarkson was going like 50, 40, 100 or whatever it was. It was insanity. I don't think he's going to get back to that, but if he can be like 45 and 40, that's an incredible night, and that's an incredible, and I think he's able to do that with this team, with the spacing and the shooting and all that stuff. Robert Hall, 99 cents. I'll take it, Robert. I appreciate it so much. And it looks like a nice coin or drawing you did there. Thank you, Robert. Very well done. C. Davis, so glad we have Conley. I agree. Conley has been everything the Jazz hoped he would this season, and he fits a perfect role. I mean, he's just been so nice to have because you have Donovan Mitchell, who's the focal point of the offense, the main playmaker who is initiating everything, and then you have Conley, Ingles, Clarkson kind of playing off of Mitchell. And all three of those guys can kind of create and do their thing. And then you have Bojan Bogdanovic, who, if you're getting shots out of him, it's just frosting. So it's really nice to see. Let's see. George Niang has been just such a solid backup player for the Jazz. 4 for 6 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. He had 13 points and a +17. George Niang has become an important part of this team, and he's going to see big minutes in the playoffs. You'll see him play 10 minutes in the playoffs, and if he puts up numbers like this, that's monster. That is big-time stuff. Finally, we got to talk about the guy that is just absolutely destroying teams. Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles is absolutely just dominant. When he starts and he's playing off of the main playmaker, tonight 7 for 11 from the field. He was 6 for 10 from 3, and that's just becoming his average. I mean, he's just shooting at just such an insane clip. 60% from 3. His average for the season is, I believe, 50%. I mean, he's going to start shooting, 51, 52% from 3? And that's on 10 attempts. It is hard to describe how good that is. It's incredible. It's incredible. Absolutely just dominant shooting from Joe Ingles. But we all know that it's not just the shooting. It's the playmaking. Ingles tonight had 4 assists. 21 points. He had a block and a steal. Let's see. Yeah. And he was fantastic. 6 rebounds. So one of the things that's so nice about Ingles is that he has size when he plays at that guard spot, and he plays point guard when he's on the floor, or plays off of either Conley or Mitchell or whoever, or Clarkson. But because he's got that size, he's bringing you a lot of the things that James Harden or Luka Doncic or LeBron James bring you when you have that big playmaking wing/guard. Ingles is like 6'8", so he's able to make that over-the-head pass. He's able to shoot over smaller guys. He's able to use his big body like Luka and create space and get his kind of fake handoff layup that he does, or the lob to Gobert. He's fantastic. It's just really, you just can't appreciate Joe Ingles enough for what he does, but he is just as much a part of these big Jazz wins as anybody. That's what he does. Robert Hall, Ingles with the money bags. I hope he signs with the Jazz. I'm scared to death he's going to retire because he's just such a unique guy. If he gets his money and he's happy and he feels like he just wants to be with his kids, then maybe that's what he does. But I hope the Jazz can sign him for at least another couple years or 3 years even, and just keep him going, because why would Joe Ingles slow down? What about what we're seeing from Joe Ingles makes you think that he's going to slow down anytime soon? I mean, his game is not predicated on massive athleticism. He uses size. He's athletic enough, and he's just crafty and smart, and he just uses his physicality to create space, and he's becoming a better shooter as we speak. Like, his shooting right now is better than it's ever been. So what are we seeing from Joe Ingles that makes you think he can't play till he's 36? Why? Why not? He's 33 right now. Get in focus. There we go. So it's just incredible what Joe Ingles does. And then you combine him with Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, and you're just seeing a guy that's just really doing nice things for the Jazz. Just a big part of the Jazz winning. It really is. Mie Aoni played 15 minutes tonight and was a +23. That's pretty good. My man crush, Elijah Hughes, was 0 for 2 from the field in 4 minutes. That makes me sad. But you know what? Sometimes sad things happen during good days sometimes, Sometimes that happens. You know what, guys? I think it's time to start worrying a tiny bit about Derek Favors. A tiny bit. Tonight he was a minus 14, and that's a little troubling when you're playing against the Houston Rockets, who are one of the worst teams in the league right now. That's a little troubling. So I'm really glad we have Ersan Ilyasova, and it also makes me really bummed that Udoka Azubuike is hurt, because I think we would have seen him a little bit this season, and it would have been nice to see what he could do on the floor with the backups. We just need Derek Favors to be pretty good, like pretty standard. Derek Favors is what we need for the Jazz to be fine, and I think even like bad Derek Favors is better than what the Jazz were playing with last year. But man, 1 for 2 from the field. He was minus 14. He had 5 rebounds, but that minus 14 is a little rough. It's a little rough, and I know it's the difference between going with Rudy Gobert and then you're seeing Rudy Gobert, who is the absolute best defensive player in the league, best defensive player in the last 10 years, and so it's hard to follow that up, and be Derek Favors that goes on the floor after him. But man, we need Derek Favors to just like be a stud. We need him to be a stud. So we got to figure it out. C. Davis, to be fair, Favors played a team with no center. True, but so did Rudy Gobert. So I don't know. And you know what? I think it's nice that the Jazz have Ersan Ilyasova. I think that game that he played backup, or that he played against the Lakers and hit shots and spread the floor, I think that was a big deal. And I think that is definitely a legitimate option, and I think that's something the Jazz need to try out a little bit. Obviously, he put so much effort into that game, he injured himself for 2 games. So I don't know if it's something you can rely on too much. But Ersan is a big deal, and I really liked what we saw from him, and I'd love to see a little bit of Ersan maybe on the floor with Derek Favors, because that at least gives you some size that maybe can help support Derek Favors. Derek actually is pretty decent. He's just not as athletic as Rudy Gobert is, or as quick, or as good at the rim, or at a lot of things. But if you have Derek Favors, who is good enough to defend on a single center and can do a decent job, and you have Ersan as a weak side like shot blocker and rebounder who can kind of patrol the paint behind Derek Favors, I think there's a lot of value in that, and just defensively. I think that Ersan can do a lot for you. I honestly, that sold me. That game was incredible, and with his shooting, if he can shoot like that, bro, that's pretty good. So let's see. Guys, that's all I got tonight. There's not a lot to talk about. This Rockets team is pure sadness, and this Jazz team is really nice, and they're winning games without Donovan Mitchell. 99 cents. What a nice dog from Robert Hall. Well done, Robert. I really like that picture. This Jazz team is able to win these games without Donovan Mitchell, and obviously it's better that Donovan Mitchell doesn't get injured than if he does. But one of the small things that comes out of this is maybe Donovan gets a little bit of rest. A couple weeks rest for Donovan Mitchell, who is going to take on the full load in the playoffs of the offense. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. So in some ways, this might be a little bit of a nice kind of recovery period for Donovan Mitchell, who can get healthy just so when the playoffs come around, he is ready to go. So, guys, thank you for joining the chat tonight. Let's talk a little bit, or let's thank I got to pull it up. Let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. You are the guys that make this happen. You are the producers. You are the guys that just make it all possible. Austin R. Grant, thank you, sir. The newest. Eric C. Kelsey Hammer, Donald Shuley, Cody Strickland, Mitt Robach, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Jorge Arizaga, Lee Christensen, Shan Therick, Ryan Perry, the legend, Justin Ty H, Patrick Akubo, my buddy, Robert Hall, and DW Jazz going all the way. Guys, that's all I got. Oh, hey, Jorge Arizaga, the Audrey Foundations. Oh, you're guilt tripping me, aren't you? Aren't you? Doggo. 50 pesos mexicanos. All right, let's bring out the dog. I'll be right back. Come here. Oh. 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 All right. Here's Audrey. Oh, can't bite the mic. Oh. Oh, Audrey. Oh, she's a good dog. You guys got to see Audrey. Audrey for the win. Audrey. Oh. 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 Okay. That's the best I could do. Oh, okay. Oh, you want back up? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. You don't like being picked up. She's getting too big, guys. Let's see. Focus. She's getting too big. She is. I nearly threw my back out carrying her down the stairs. So, but hey, shout out to everyone. Audrey says hi. She says woof, arf, bow, wow. I speak dog, roof, rough, 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 rough.